I decided to start a little discussion video just for the sake of it. Look, my mom said I have to work on videos on my channel more often, so I decided to just start off with discussions. So, what's the first discussion going to be about? Let's talk about the Trackmaster Stanley and the Tomy plarail Stanley. So, where do we begin? Before we begin, I want to say I know a little bit about the Stanley models, so don't judge me if I get something wrong or not. And if I don't know anything much about it. If you guys got info, I'll probably leave it in the comments or something. If any of you guys got info about this Trackmaster and plarail Stanleys, leave the info in the comments below, and I'll probably put it in the description. Aside from that, let's get started. So, Trackmaster Stanley versus the plarail edition. Let's go with the cons first. Let's go with the pros first instead. Let's just try that. So, pros. Well, the first pro is that the plarail Stanley. Let's just start with the plarail Stanley first. So, the pros are that the paint, as you might have called, the footplate is painted in its traditional color from the actual movie and the franchise that Stanley came in, because duh. Also, he has a series accurate face, eyebrows and all, painted undercarriage, and a correct set of wheels. Not to mention, he's pretty good looking for a plarail model. Now, the cons. The cons are that it looks ugly, feels ugly, and it's just not my cup of tea. I mean, look at the freaking thing. Look at it! Looks like Stanley, alright, if he went through a massive physical change. Like, I don't know. What if he decided to get an overhaul, but it ultimately backfired? That's terrible! In hindsight, sometimes you gotta update something. The Trackmaster Stanley is a pretty good example. So, what does the Trackmaster Stanley have to bring to the table? Well, let's check out the pros first. The pros are that it looks just like the movie, feels like the movie, has red wheels, just like the original character. Oh, and did I not mention that the plarail Stanley also has a ladder? Yeah, that's sort of moving on. Aside from that, the cons. Well, it doesn't have a painted footplate, or probably it doesn't have a painted footplate. Sometimes it doesn't come with a back sticker for the lining on the back, and the face doesn't really look much like the plarail Stanley. But that one I'm gonna let slide. Mainly because, again, as the pros would also recall, the Trackmaster Stanley actually has a pretty accurate shape to the original Thomas and Friends version of Stanley. The plarail Stanley tried, I will admit, but the Trackmaster one looks a lot better. From the details, to the cab, to the shape, even to the face. I would suggest to just take off the face from Trackmaster Stanley and the plarail Stanley and swap them around. But yeah, I think I like this Trackmaster Stanley just the way it is. I mean, it was the first model I ever got when I was little, when the Great Discovery first came out. I was young when I first heard about the Great Discovery. I was really young when I heard about the Great Discovery. And one day, my mom got me a DVD. I don't remember when, though. It was, as I pointed out, the Great Discovery. So, we were on holiday in my grandpa's house in Peru. So, I asked my mom if I could just watch the film. And I think before the movie, or after we got the movie, well, the copy, anyways, I got myself. My mom decided to give me a trackmaster Stanley, and it's stuck with me ever since. Made it into a bit of a custom right now, but at least I have another one to replace it. Look, the other Stanley came in good condition, great condition. Aside from that, yeah, Stanley has actually been in my heart ever since that day. Besides, I think Train Kid Studios does a pretty good job voicing him. Well, in the Christmas special, anyways. Aside from that, 10 out of 10. 10 flipping out of 10. In fact, when I was little, when I had the Stanley in my hands, I would even recreate the scene where Stanley was first introduced. Just imagine there was a camera in front of me, just staring at the space where Stanley was supposed to come out of, and then I would just go ahead and have fun. I took that Stanley with me a long time. It was with me for the whole year I had it. It was just a lot of fun. And though I turned it into another model, don't worry, it's still Stanley, but it's different. I still have another one, and it still runs just as great as the original one did. Besides, it doesn't have wires. Well, it's not connected to a wire, but hey, it still works. Besides, I will have to admit, Waterworks was a pretty interesting Enterprising Engines episode. So, what do I think? I think the Trackmaster Stanley wins by a million votes. Though Stanley doesn't have any recognition in though Stanley doesn't get any recognition later on in the series, especially since he was kicked out of the series during the 25th season, as well as the WBA. But Jesus Christ, the dude still lives on gray in our hearts. We respect him, we cherish him. He is our god of our future. He might be just another merchandising character, but I think he found a way into many people's hearts. I should know, because I think he found his way into mine. And I'll never forget that. We're getting memories from when I used to get him, and when I used to play with him when I was little. Good times. So, this is a pretty interesting discussion video if I actually say that myself. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching this discussion on Trackmaster Stanley and plarail Stanley. Please sure to like and subscribe under the comments, and yeah, which one do you think is superior? Trackmaster or plarail? So, I think that's it. Thank you all for watching, and yeah, see you for the next discussion. Whenever that comes.